Hey, we're back, and today we're going to talk about outlets. How do you test them? How do you know they're wired right? What wires dropped? What's wires working? We're going to kind of go over all that stuff and hopefully help you out next time you plug a tester into the outlet and it gives you all these pretty lights. You'll know what those lights really mean. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe down below there and dingle on the bell. That way you get notified next time we do something. And of course, you can leave a comment below because we always like to know what you guys are thinking and gals, I guess I should say, right? So
Yes.
with that, let's go ahead and share this other screen that we've got set up. So this is the tester that you're probably used to seeing. You're going to see this in every
Well,
aisle at any Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, Ace
it's
Hardware.
your least expensive. They're fairly inexpensive and they work.
Yes. And then the alternate for this is they have a little GFI tester button if you want to do that. That's the upgrade from this one. But when you plug this in, it'll tell you you've got an open ground, an open neutral, open hot. Your hot and ground are reversed, hot and neutral reversed, and then you've got your correct wiring. So,
Which is all fine and dandy as long as you know what a ground is and neutral is, the hot and the ground, and then the neutral. Neutral is not a ground.
right.
So
Should we
aside
start?
from getting two yellow lights, which means it's correct,
Yeah. Then
okay.
what, then what are you going to do? So now,
So you being the resident electrician, explain the hot, the neutral. There is no ground here.
nope, this is in conduit. This is for the Chicago area. The ground is already included in the metal box and the metal conduit.
As long as the outlet and or switch or whatever is screwed into the box.
Correct. This is true. Yeah, because a lot of times you'll test it and it won't be screwed in. You're like, oh man, something's wired wrong. Then you realize, oh, that's right, I got to screw it into the box. And as soon as you do that, boom, it's perfect. So you've got right here is the breaker providing the hot to the GFI, and then the neutral that goes back to the neutral bar that goes back to your panel. So you can see the way this is wired right now on the load side. All of these are protected by
No
this
way. So
button.
the wiring from the breaker is going to the line side of the GFI, correct?
Correct. And then the
And
load side,
anything that you're putting on there that needs to be protected, let's call it downstream, needs to be on the load side.
correct.
Okay.
So,
That's where most people mess up. That's why I'm trying to get to,
right.
from
So,
the panel line side. Anything
correct.
after it, load side.
Yes. And you can see, even though these are whites and these are black, they're not tied back in here. They're all tied into the GFI. And even if you were to hook up this light and actually make it work, even though it doesn't have it, if you had a light down here and you brought this switch leg over to the light, the neutral would have to get tied in on this side over here and make sure you're sending that load back to the load side, not sending the neutral over here to this on the line side. As soon as you hook that neutral up to here, the GFI is going to trip and nothing's going to work. So a couple of quick little things there to kind of cover the big bases.
That's the basic wiring of what we've got.
Yes.
Okay, so that's now the south where I am.
Yes.
Power source, two wire cable with ground wire. Well,
Yeah.
actually, it says grand wire.
Yeah, it's grand. It's beautiful.
All right, so at least you gave credit to wiringdiagram21.com.
That's right, because they're the ones that made this up.
Spelling error.
That's right. So what I liked about this was they were wiring these correctly. This goes to a pigtail. The pigtail comes over and goes to your outlet. And they did that on all of these, except for the last one, obviously, because it can go straight there. So that shows the proper wiring technique. They just don't know how to spell. And that,
Except that those two outlets on the right are not GFI protected.
correct. They are
And
not.
I'm clarifying because if you don't pick up on it, they do not have the hots and neutrals run through the load side of the GFI.
Correct.
Just, but they are grounded properly to the back
Yes.
of the box or whatever.
Yep. It all looks correct. So, except for this one, they forgot the ground lug right here. They forgot to hook that ground lug up. So we're finding some other things that they hook these
I
up.
now want to use whining diagram 21.com.
Minor errors. Just overlook those. So, okay, let's go over an open ground real quick. An open ground tells us right here, there's your open ground
Because you have no ground.
because we have no ground. So this outlet would test as an open ground. Once you come off this ground lug here and you connect it to the other ground here, that will give you a ground and you're going to end up with the proper correct wiring. Let's see. On our fancy list that we got here, it says turn the power off. Rarely do I turn the power off because you got to go find the goofy breaker. So they do.
Well, we have a tester for that from Klein that, you just plug it into the bad outlet, you go down to the panel and you find out which one it is. And the
Yes.
reason why we prefer to turn the breakers off is not so you don't get shot, is if you break the neutrals apart on AC electric, you could send 220 to another device, like the TV that might be on that same neutral.
If things are not wired correct,
That's what happens. It has more to do with not destroying other items in the home as opposed to getting yourself shocked or electrocuted.
which is another reason to pigtail because now you're not ever breaking that circuit. You're only removing this
Right.
outlet and
No, it's a great example. Like on this outlet, if you were to take that neutral off, you still would have the neutral going to the other two outlets.
Yep.
But if you broke that wire nut loose, you could possibly have 220 coming from the other two outlets from path.
So, we're going to ensure that. So then let's go to our open neutral. An open neutral means that this is not connected properly. Maybe the wire broke off inside. There's a bunch of reasons why that open neutral signal would be coming there. You could also, let's say this one here is connected and it's wired correctly, but when you get to this one, something's going on in this wire.
Yeah.
The wires.
Well, a lot of times they just use the wire nut to hold the wires together as opposed to mechanically fastening,
Right.
which means twisting all the wires together with your Klein tools,
Right. Your linemen's.
your
So
linemen's, and then you put the wire nut on.
the wire nut's there to
Often
protect
I
the
see
connection.
the wire nut is just, hold the wire nut.
Yep.
Just even break that wire nut loose and the wires just fall apart. Well, that's your arcing, your flashing lights, and open neutral.
Yes. So it does a lot of issues like that. So that'll give you your open neutral. Let's see what else we got. Oh, open hot, same principle.
Yeah, that same. Mhm.
So, but with open hot, let's go back over to this one.
Okay.
This is going to show you don't wire this. This is not wired correctly. You don't want to use each one. You want to go to your wires nut and then pigtail off to a single outlet. So we'll call that out on this one. But if this GFI is tripped and you plug in over here and put your tester in here, it's going to show you've got an open hot. It's not because you're not getting fed the hot. If you've got this breaker off, you'll have an open hot. If you have a break in any of the hot wires and you plug in, same thing. So this wire could come loose here. You're testing this outlet and it's going to show you an open hot. So that's what's going on with this one. So let's go back to the more correct wired diagram.
Ish.
Correct. And obviously your hot and neutral reversed is when these wires are opposite. If your hot and your neutral is reversed, then that's not going to wire up correctly.
And it seems like every manufacturer now has a silver screw for your neutral side and a gold screw for your hot side. And I still recommend using the screws, not the backstabs. I don't like backstabs. I don't like the 14 gauge wire stuck in the back of an outlet. It's just sort of asking for trouble down the road. It's not a big deal to make the hook with the needle nose and tie it tight.
I can't tell you how many outlets have gone in and they backstabbed them and they wired it like this other one. They wired it like this, backstabbed it, and the little spring that makes contact with the wire came loose, and now everything downstream doesn't work. And it's all because someone just pushed the wire in the back and let the spring hold the wire. So you want to always use the ground, use the screw terminals. And there are some that have a plate that screws in and out when you hook up the wire, and you can clamp it down with that. And if you can clamp it down with that, that's also pretty good. That'll hold it well also. So you can have those reversed. The outlet will work. The devices you plug into that outlet will work. It's just not wired correctly. So you just all have to do is take those wires out and swap them over. Then your hot and ground are reversed. That's some nasty wiring going on right there. That means you've got this one and this one backwards.
Which usually blows the breaker immediately.
Well, it should.
Well, that's what I mean. So you don't even get a chance to get the tester out. You turn the power on and the breaker should pop immediately.
But, well, no, because
unless it's an only item on that circuit.
So like this one here at the end, if you swap these two wires, then this ground is up here. It's not going to sense anything. This hot is going to be sending the power out of the ground. So that's what's going to tell you that that's backwards. Now, if you tried to do that in some of these others with the pigtails, it may not like it too much because it's tied in with the rest of the circuit. So these two being reversed, that's nasty. This will not work. Versus having the neutral and the hot reversed, it will still work when you plug something into it. The device you're plugging in is just wired backwards. That's all it is. So things that shouldn't be hot are going to be hot, and things that that shouldn't. That's it. You shouldn't be hot, but it's going to be. So it's just everything's backwards. So the outer casing of whatever, like the toaster or something like that, could end up having power running through it because it's not grounded properly. It's not the neutral is not tied off properly. So that's what'll cause that. Let's see what else we got. I think that pretty much covers all the different devices. This has the tester, so you can plug that into the GFI and hit that button and it'll trip the breaker in the GFI to test that. So, and it gives you a whole bunch more information. And again, if we just...
I like the fact that it actually gives you voltage.
Yes, it does do that too. So
if your lights are looking a little dim and you put it in there and it shows that you only got 99 volts instead of 110 or 120, and it's typically because your house is too big and they only ran 14 gauge wire a quarter of a mile. You're losing voltage.
Yeah, voltage drop. There's our closing picture right there. Hopefully, we got into some GFI stuff that probably shouldn't have, but this is all caused because someone sent us a question. And of course, we came up with this instant request answer form. So that's kind of why we kind of drove into the GFIs a little bit, is only because the GFIs can cause some of those problems and you may not know it. That GFI could be in the bathroom and they could have outlets in a bedroom, something tied off on that, and that could be causing an issue. So you might have to look in a different room to find out really what's going on and to try and test it. And you're downstairs checking the breaker. The breaker's fine. The outlet in the bathroom is tripped, and that's causing all the issues. So that's why we brought in the GFI issue with it too. So there you go. Boom.
Boom.
We're back. All right. I'm loving the organization on your workbench. That is not you. That is not you.
Actually, mine actually looks better than that. I actually cleaned mine up today.
All right. Let's say that if you got any questions about this, feel free to drop that question down below and we'll get it answered for you. Hopefully we can help you out and get your electrical flowing in the right direction. That's the whole idea.
There you go.
So in the meantime, make sure you hit that subscribe button, dingle on the bell, and Keep it square and level.
Till next time.
Till next time. There you go. Zing. Whoa.